Who's that fluffy bundle of love? It's Princess.
Well, we were hoping it would be the most offensive thing, at least in terms of cartoons. I mean, or else, what the hell were we doing?
Run and jump, Princess duck and hide.
I think people were concerned that it would offend the community.
Who's the one that Toby Rob's cute little baby is?
It was quite difficult to figure out how to actually introduce that to a mainstream audience.
Let's see what she does today.
We wanted it to be up there with that girl who f***ed off the horse and gagged.
Yeah.
That was our goalpost we were shooting for.
This is Shocked, the story of when South Park creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker met internet entertainment innovators Shockwave.com. It's a tale about the internet boom, a large pot of money, and a small fluffy dog called Princess. So let's go back to the late 90s, when Matt and Trey were being quickly seduced by the power of the internet.
We all remember those first few years, those years that went by where we had internet before we had DSL, where
right.
We would actually sit there and wait for 3 minutes for a page to load and stuff like that.
You've got mail.
Hey, you've got mail, look at it.
See, and then I can click on the little face.
It's just so easy. I'd never seen anything that I really liked on the internet, I don't think.
There was a dog taking a crap on a homeless guy video I saw that was pretty cool.
Yuck. Actually, I do remember the first thing we did on the internet that I remember thinking was funny is I think it was at your house in Colorado. It was a chat room.
Oh, yeah.
Like, instantly, like, the first thing was like, what is this? It's a chat room. You can chat real time with people. It's like, okay, we'll call him a fag. And he's like, all right. They kicked us out. And it was like instantly we just thought that would be super funny.
But Matt and Trey's adventures on the internet went beyond just chat room fun. Before it became an international TV phenomenon, South Park began life as a short animated film called The Spirit of Christmas, which scored millions of fans on the internet as a massive underground hit.
We did have some experience with the internet because The Spirit of Christmas that we did, that was kind of the beginning of South Park, actually got passed around on the internet a lot.
Hanukkah sucks. Don't you oppress me, fat boy. Don't call me fat, but then don't belittle my people, you fat ass. Ah, damn it, don't call me fat, you butt son of a bitch.
Because of The Spirit of Christmas, South Park had its huge, internet following. Even before it went on the air, people knew about it. And I think the pilot that we had done, parts of it had leaked to the internet. So I think there was a point when we were second in fan sites only to Star Trek.
God damn it, you stepped on my foot, you pig. Dude, don't say pig in front of Jesus. Ah, you.
Right when South Park really took off was it seemed like the time that the internet really took off.
Yeah, I think if you trace it back, I think South Park was responsible for the rise of the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, almost exactly. And I don't think it's coincidence.
In 1999, Rob Burgess, the head of San Francisco's super successful software designers Macromedia and parent company of online entertainment site Shockwave.com, was hatching his own plans for Matt and Trey.
I was personally a big fan of Matt and Trey. I thought, sort of their irreverence and social commentary and appeal to, out of the mainstream was really perfect for the internet.
Shockwave was able to, they were putting clips of South Park on their website before we even knew about it, actually. That's where a lot of people were seeing South Park, because at that point Comedy Central wasn't in a whole lot of homes, and so a lot of people were seeing the show on the internet too.
Damn it, be quiet, Alvin. Shut up, Alvin.
When you look at South Park as an example, the animation style of that was extremely well suited to the medium, which was Flash.
Flash, Macromedia's hugely successful web design software, was single-handedly transforming the internet and its text-heavy pages into a visually rich experience. Perfect for animators.
We were really impressed just by what Flash could do, actually, because we had built a system to do South Park, and it was so archaic. Even in '97, these gigantic machines we had to get the machines, and the programs that they used to make Jurassic Park in order for us to just get this dumb little crappy construction paper look.
Shh, don't scare him. Hey there, little guy. Bad. Cartman, why? Why do you always have to hit stuff with a stick? Well, look at him. He's look at him.
just the fact that in a few short years it had come to a computer program that could do something that didn't it had a lot more limitations, but looked we thought pretty good. We were pretty impressed.
In the early part of 2000, thanks to Flash, Shockwave.com was attracting over 4 million unique viewers a month. Meanwhile, as prices of .com stock on the NASDAQ went sky high, Matt and Trey were about to be offered a deal worth millions of dollars in cash and company stock, as a new dream was being sold in Hollywood of the Internet's role in the future of entertainment.
As the web was emerging, there were a lot of companies that were building out entertainment portals with the idea that this would enable a new distribution outlet for content. Whether that content was games, shows, music videos, short movies, and the ability to reach, millions and millions of eyeballs via the web was the new exciting business of the time.
What happens at most newspapers is usually write one story a day, and that's considered, a lot. We were doing 10 stories a day. I was writing 10 stories a day on new deals, who was doing what, which executive was leaving a studio and joining one of these .coms. It was insane. And so you couldn't help but get caught up in the hype and the whole internet craze.
Oh, it was a crazy time in 99, 2000, 2001 in Hollywood. There was definitely a sense that that the entertainment experience was going to change dramatically.
There were people like, well, there's not even going to be TV in like 5 years. This is it. It's just going to be internet. And it was like, oh, really? What are we going to do? And so it was like, we were thinking about like, oh, okay, we're going to have South Park, but it'll be on the internet, but it'll be kind of like TV because you're just watching it. But what will be the difference? And it was like all that kind of stuff. It was impossible to avoid.
Shockwave was one of the many players in this business, and they needed to attract a lot of attention, and they needed to generate some credibility for themselves. And the only way I think they thought they could do that was to get some big names and to start paying a lot of money. And of all the websites, I think they were spending more than anybody.
Shockwave called our lawyers and agents or whatever. It was one of those things where, Shockwave or these companies that were about to, go public and do that would come to the big Hollywood agencies and say, hey, we're about to go public. We need some Hollywood talent to, fill out our press releases with and do all this stuff. And so they came to our agents, and our agents came to us and said, hey, do you want to do the same for Shockwave?
And this was at the time that all of the internet people were the richest people in the country, and they were buying up all the entertainment stuff. And so all of Hollywood, the agents and lawyers were all like, this is all going to be internet owned in 6 months. We got to get on.
Right.
And it was just more like a takeover by another country. In
order for the websites to be taken seriously, they had to start paying for talent. And they were paying, from what we reported, $1 million for, certain people to create projects for them. What we reported was $2 million for Matt and Trey to create, their 48 episodes, or webisodes as we called them, for Shockwave.com.
All these people who suddenly had all this internet money and said, we want to do movies and television, without a thought of, that means creativity or anything like that.
And they would say all the time, they're obviously a lot of intelligent people. They would say all the right things, like, we don't know what we're doing, you guys know what you're doing, so we're just the money guy, you guys do it. It was just obvious that, not at first, but after a while, it was obvious that, this was headed for disaster.
My favorite websites list is Italian Food Forever, Bathrobes, Robes, and Towels for Men.
This is a good one. Just bars.
Bars.
This is bars.
And Exotica 2000 Porn Star Escorts.
We were chasing them for quite some time because we were big fans of South Park, a lot of us that were working at Shockwave.com, and we felt that they would have the right type of irreverence and that they could really create something that would work with the Flash tool.
We decided, well, here's what could be really cool about it. We'll do it if we can do whatever we want, because that's what the internet should be about. It's all about porn. It's just like, if we can go do something that we can't do on television,
right,
then,
or in movies,
then we'll do it.
Yeah, well, part of the deal with Shockwave was that we really wanted to have a more hands-off approach with respect to the content. We wanted to put the artist back in charge. A lot of people talked about the sort of breaking through the bureaucracy of Hollywood and having a chance to express themselves freely. And we really tried to do that. So we didn't actually get to see much of the content until it was pretty well complete.
We tried to really push something and push the envelope on television. And when we made the South Park movie, we said, okay, well now we're R-rated. We got to push what an R-rated movie is. So we had to even push that. So then you get on the internet and there really is no envelope, you know. So it was just like we had to take it out to here.
We said, go. You know, you can do whatever you want. This is a new medium. Go for it. And they went for it.
And we told Shockwave we're going to do X-rated comedy, and they said whatever you want to do.
Like, that's awesome, guys.
That's just what we want. We said South Park movie, but worse. And we said that's okay. That's because then, for us, that was a reason to be. You know, that gave Princess, that gave the whole idea a reason to be, and the idea of they're going to pay all the production costs, and we can do anything we want. It was like, okay, well, we can come up with some little thing.
Who's that fluffy bundle of love? It's Princess, Princess. Special little muffin, just as sweet and easy is. Princess, Princess. Run and jump, Princess. Princess, duck and hide. Who's the one that TVrip? She's cute as little baby is. Who loves adventure and plays all day? It's Princess, isn't it? Yes. Let's see what she does today.
Basically, we just called these two of our animators that worked on South Park, and they're two of like the most competent people we know. Animators or not, I mean, they're just people who can do kind of anything, and that was Todd and Crispy.
It was scary. I mean, we never even imagined that it would be what it was. I mean, even when we read the script the first time, we were thinking about, well, what kind of camera angles can we use to hide what we normally wouldn't show on television? Or, hey, we could do a close-up here and just do something off camera and have a sound, because we didn't know that they actually wanted to show everything that they were going to show.
The idea was that there was a whole neighborhood of these little dogs and cats and stuff, and it was all about like Princess and Snuggles and Fluffy and Mr. Yes and all these little characters that were all around. But it really wasn't at all about them. It was all about their families that owned them, that were all completely, you know, all X-rated comedy.
At one point, Trey's comment was, make the penis look more realistic. So, I mean, that right there, yeah.
It was a nice penis. They rendered it. They did a pretty good job. I think that Crispy
it showed that they had seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
That was good right there.
Thanks. I felt a little dirty the first time I watched it, but I felt kind of dirty the whole time we were making it.
The idea was Princess was this little dog that, of course, the show was absolutely not about Princess. It was always about what Princess was watching, which was like extremely like graphic shit.
On today's episode, Princess meets Officer Friendly.
So, what you're telling us, Mr. Richards, is that you took a half bottle of Viagra, which gave you a 5-hour and eventually caused you to so much that you blew your wife's head off. I knew you wouldn't believe me.
What Shockwave wanted to do, and that the best thing to do, is create a brand, create a thing that is like not only a show, but then because you're on the internet, you want it to have little games, and you want it to have, of course, little dolls you can buy, and just we're in a way almost ripping on the whole South Park thing. We're like, let's create like the cutest thing ever, and create this brand that from anything in a store on the internet you would think is just this really cute little harmless little dog with a cute little song, but then anyone that had actually seen the pieces were like, it's so up and wrong.
Ever since Viagra showed up, we've been having little problems like this. Little problems? I have to go downstairs now and tell my son what happened. Oh, God. How am I going to tell him?
The idea behind it was really cool, that it would open up games, would open up characters, and this little see and say, and there was like all these little characters.
You had to watch these things to open them up, so it's like you almost had to put yourself through watching the thing.
To watch episode 1, you'd actually have to click on a game, and you'd have to play this really, super simple game where you had to color the Bulgarian flag. And you didn't really have to do anything except point and click, because there was a picture of what the flag should look like. It's a preschool thing, like, oh, here, put the blocks in the right position, and yay, you get a prize.
And we had a whole city, fake city laid out where everyone lived, and it was all this, like, we just wanted to make it this really rich, deep world that meant absolutely nothing, and just was a stupid, like,
excuse
hey,
for
look
porn.
at this, and look at it, and just an excuse for, like, porn comedy.
I understand there's been an accident. Where's the body?
Who are you?
Oh, well, I'm the body checker guy.
You mean the coroner?
Yes, I'm the coroner.
We wanted to see little kids wearing this stuff around, not knowing that that the content, what it was based on, was all completely X-rated. But if you just looked at the graphic, it'd be
just
like
little princess,
and a little thing, and it would just be really cute, and like little girls and boys would wear it. That still is really funny. I still like it, that idea.
I need about 10 minutes alone with the body.
All right.
Make it 20.
Fine.
We were really looking to create franchises. The question obviously was around Princess, is this a franchise?
Yeah, that's a hot dead body.
Is this something that we can really mass market across multiple platforms and derive multiple streams of revenue across all these different platforms? And it was questionable.
See, the internet's useful for many things.
I think some of us were hoping that they would understand that we were going to be reaching the masses and that a portion of those masses would include children. So I guess maybe some of us were thinking to ourselves that we were hoping they would be a little bit more responsible.
And then the second episode was the little boy seeing
his dead mom
violated by a man.
Part of the deal that we structured with Matt and Trey was for them to have ownership in Shockwave.com. And as part of being an owner, you're a partner, and therefore you're hopefully incented to create content that will make money for a company that you're an owner of.
I'm sure given the time, we would have pushed it even more.
Yeah, could have done more blood.
I mean, don't forget the end goal here was to go public.
Did they ever go public?
I don't think they ever went public.
You know, they had some yayas they needed to get out. You know, and this was the vehicle that they used to do that.
Tommy, Daddy has to tell you something.
All right, Dad.
In retrospect, I don't think they were given too much creative control. I don't think that they would have dealt with us on any other level.
You just don't say to someone, do whatever you want. It's just like, okay, all right, if you go into a TV pitch and they say do whatever you want, they mean obviously you can't do certain things. You got to play by the rules, but there was no rules, so.
Tommy, when a man and a woman fall in love, they are attracted to each other and they want to be close to each other. And sometimes the man takes his penis and puts it into something the woman has called a vagina. But sometimes, instead of putting his penis in her vagina, he puts it in her. And if he's been taking too much Viagra without any release, he can blow the woman's head clean off. And that's what I did to your mother. Do you understand?
No.
Yeah, with the Matt and Trey material, we wrestled with it for months, really, and try to figure out what the right model was for that content. It was a very difficult issue to sort of consider. We've been doing this our whole career of pushing that envelope, and Bill going, oh no, I can't do that. And it was convincing him, yeah, it'll work. And so we just pushed it, and I remember we sent it. We just didn't hear from them for a couple weeks. We're like, hey, did you like the thing? And they just didn't. I just remember they didn't call for a couple weeks.
They didn't say anything. They were pretty shocked.
I think it was about 2 weeks after we submitted it that we heard a phone call back finally from them. Like, hey, we got it. Thanks.
It was quite difficult to figure out how to actually introduce that to a mainstream audience.
They knew they were in a bind because we had been extremely explicit in we're going to do the most up thing, and they're like, that's what we want. We love it. We love you guys straight to the top. Like that was their whole pitch.
Obviously, they know how to tweak people. I think part of their charm and success is going into areas that are taboo for a lot of people. They have done that with all the South Park works and the motion pictures, etc. And so that's their special talent. And this was definitely along the same genre of touching people where they don't like to be touched, maybe. And I think that's part of their incredible success.
And so you see, Tommy, Mommy's in heaven now, looking down on both of us.
How is she looking at us if you blew her head off?
I have to give credit to him, and Shockwave was complete like, hey, we cannot put this on our site right now because of the whole thing. We want to go public and do this public offering in like 6 months, and we can't have pornography. Now we'll be a porn site. We can't have that on our site. But, and this is total credit, they were, from the beginning, they absolutely said, but we told you that's what we wanted. It's not your fault, and we want to figure out something, and we're going to pay for the whole thing. You guys did nothing, outside of what you said.
What is it, girl? The barn's on fire? Old Mr. Mulligan is stuck in the well. A small deaf child is all alone on Haskins Bridge?
They passed on Princess after basically saying whatever we do, they're going to put up, you know. And then they sort of hemmed and hawed about, well, we're going to put it up, but we're going to put it up on a special website where you go to Shockwave and then you have to click to this thing, and then you have to give them a credit card number to prove you're an adult and pay like 2 cents or whatever it was. And
well, no, they wanted to charge.
Yeah,
that was their big thing.
And then we started just going, dude, this isn't, we don't want to start charging people for this crap.
Not now, Princess.
I think she wants us to follow her upstairs to Mommy.
Tommy, no!
And then the internet, and then the whole thing collapsed anyway, and everyone that was supposed to make, millions of dollars made nothing.
In April 2000, the prices of .com stock crashed, wiping 30% off of the NASDAQ's total value. With investors wary of putting any more money into the floundering entertainment portals, Shockwave.com were forced to reevaluate, leaving Princess on the shelf.
When the stock market was kind of, all the internet and tech stocks were crashing, and all that stuff, all of a sudden you got the feeling they had a lot bigger fish to fry than to call us. The house was burning up there in San Francisco.
I think we had about 190 employees, and we had offices worldwide, LA, New York, London, Tokyo, and we ended up literally hitting the reset button and going down to about 30 people.
Everybody was talking about, oh God, the internet's completely gone, these companies are dead. It hasn't gone away. What's gone away is creating content that nobody wants to see. What's gone away is spending so much money to build a company that nobody really wants in the first place.
Really, like you saw with the internet sites that tried to do content, after watching them struggle for like a year to figure out how the hell you put together a thing, it actually, I think TV executives started getting a little more respect.
The bubble bursting has gotten rid of all the people that didn't really know what they were doing on the internet, and it's kept the people that do understand how it works and how people use the internet in their lives.
I think, a lot of the internet people kind of got their ass handed to them because they're like, well, whatever, you just throw a bunch of money in it, now we can just do whatever we want and deliver this to the world.
Turns out the Hollywood guys were actually right. The Hollywood guys a lot of them were really skeptical of the business models and the business plans. And I think the people in the technology industry were a lot more optimistic that things like broadband were going to happen more quickly than they did. And so the Hollywood guys were actually quite right about that.
To us, there was just always this bottom line of like them going, this is what it's going to be. This is everyone's, and we were like, we don't watch anything on the internet.
Who sits around and watches stuff?
Like I don't know anyone that I still don't that download something on the internet to watch. In terms of entertainment, I mean, unless it's porn.
Entertainment is developing on the internet. There are a lot of very successful companies on the internet. Shockwave.com is actually making money now. So I think that a lot of the hype and promise was actually dead on. What was wrong was the timing, was how quickly it could all happen.
Mostly just porn. I mean, we really just use the internet for porn.
I mean, at the end of the day, a consumer doesn't care if something comes over the air or through a cable or through your computer. They just want to have a great experience. And so the method and the technology on how content is actually delivered will become increasingly transparent. What will really be at the forefront is the consumer experience.
The thing that's great about the internet is just you have the entire world hooked up, so you have different porn you have German porn, you have African porn, you have, oral and anal.
It's really helped the world come together in their porn.
It's amazing.
It's an amazing thing.
You have porn cartoons, you have live action porn, little mini porn movies, pictures.
And we can see German porn, or they crap on each other and stuff. Everything. And it's just, you get to be a really international person because of the internet.
Well, that's about enough internet for me.